and we'll keep you posted when he's made a final decision on that front. Well, the problem is that the deal was made on a completely false pretense. Iran lied on the front end. They were dishonest actors. And so the deal that was made on things that weren't accurate. And we have a big problem with that.
Sarah Sanders defending the president's latest comments on the Iran nuclear deal. What will he do? Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu saying he does not want war with Iran, but continues to pressure the president to back out of it. Nile Gardiner, director of the Margaret Thatcher Center, Freedom at the Heritage Foundation. Nile, how you doing? And good morning to you today.
Fine, thanks, Bill. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. You know, you rip up the deal. What goes in its place, Nile?
Well, I think the first thing you'll see is the reimposition of U.S. sanctions against Iran, and possibly secondary sanctions which target international companies doing business with the Iranian regime. The goal will be to prevent Iran from gaining the funds necessary to build up its ballistic missile program, its nuclear program, and also its support for international terrorism. So these sanctions would hit the Iranian regime extremely hard. So that, I think, would be the first thing. But also, secondly, I think the United States would seek to create a new, stronger deal in order to deal with the long-term Iranian nuclear threat. I think, thirdly, of course, the United States will support every effort by U.S. allies in the Middle East to defend themselves against Iranian aggression.
That's very interesting, too. You rip up the deal. What's the domino effect in that region? Well, what would you anticipate now?
Well, the deal is, of course, deeply unpopular with many key U.S. allies in the region, especially with Israel, also with Saudi Arabia and the Gulf states. They view this deal as an extremely weak agreement that significantly strengthens Iran's ability to be able to operate aggressively in the region. And we've seen that, of course, with Iran's growing aggression inside Syria, which it wants to use as a launch pad from which to support Hezbollah operations against Israel. Also, you've seen growing Iranian aggression in Lebanon, in Yemen, and other parts of the Middle East as well. So the Iran nuclear deal has been a massive windfall for the Iranian regime. That money is being plowed into a support for terrorist activities and also, of course, the building up of its conventional weapons.
You had to think, though, when the Euros were going there in the wooden palace in the middle of the night, that they were going to be used for something nefarious in the first place. Now, John Kerry helped broker the deal. Yesterday, he sent this message out, rather direct. Every detail Prime Minister Netanyahu presented yesterday was every reason the world came together to apply years of sanctions and negotiate the Iran nuclear agreement, because the threat was real and had to be stopped. It's working. That's why Israeli security experts are speaking out. There was no negotiation, and all that changed with the JCPOA. Blow up the deal, and you are back there tomorrow. What do you think about that now?
Well, I think this is the expected response from John Kerry, who played a key role, of course, in putting this weak-kneed agreement together. The reality is that if this deal remains in place, Iran will inevitably become a nuclear weapons power once the sunset clauses have come into place. And so the reality is that the deal negotiated by John Kerry, the Obama administration, is a deal that, in the long run, will allow Iran to become a nuclear weapons power. There was extraordinary, I think, depths of naivete with regard to the negotiations that took place. Barack Obama knew full well that there was no congressional support for this deal. He bypassed Congress.
That's why you don't go to the Senate. Final word here, though. You don't anticipate a war, do you?
I don't believe anyone has the intention of going to war here. But the fact remains that Iran is the world's biggest state sponsor of international terrorism. It's hell-bent upon developing a nuclear weapons program. It poses a massive threat to the region. And certainly U.S. allies in the Middle East have every right to defend themselves against any form of Iranian aggression.
Appreciate the input. Very interesting. Nile Gardiner, thank you for your time today. Nice to talk to you today.
My pleasure.
You bet.
Thank you very much, Bill.
Well, a new political ad is